Hi and welcome to C++ Lecture 6 with Junior. I'm back again after a little break, guys. Alright, here we are to continue. Alright, now we are continuing with the control structure called repetition structure. As I promised you guys that we'll be looking into control structure with the lecturers as we progress. So our topic of the day, control structure, repetition structure. And then remember, on our control structure we have two types of control structure. We had a selection structure, and then we emphasized the selection structure where we're having our if-else statements, and then we're having our switch statement, and then we emphasize those ones. I hope you guys understand them now. You're happy, you're waiting for the next topic, which is right here. I made a notepad as always, guys, and repetition structure. And then repetition structure, today we'll be looking to repetition structure called while loop. And then one might be maybe a little bit confused what a repetition structure. As the name suggests, these are structures that will allow you as a programmer to repeat. Your program will execute, the loop of the program will continue till a certain condition says no, you have to stop. Alright, so now guys, I made a notepad here, and then with the notes just for you guys to see, and then you can pause the video and then read the notes here that I have for you guys, but then as always I'll read them for you. Okay, here are my tips. Alright, the program execution loops or repeat while the condition is true. When I mean the condition is true, you see guys, as you can see here, I wrote while, and then inside the brackets here I said condition. This is the thing that I'm talking about. This is the condition. When this condition is true, right, you'll get to see actually what kind of a condition will be referring to. And then when it's true or when it's met, we usually, most of the programmers that I met, we always say when the condition is met, meaning when the condition executes true. If you verify the condition and then it says it's true, yes, it's true, it then means that's where now you can keep repeating. And what are you going to repeat? You will repeat the statement within the while loop. The loop, it will loops within the statement of the while loop. Otherwise you stop, given that this condition is not met. You only stop if this condition is not met. It then means when it's false, when this condition execute to false, it then means you stop executing the statement within the while loop. Alright, and then now structuring of a while loop. This is how the layout of a while loop should be in a basic context, guys, in a basic way for you guys to just see and understand. Okay, maybe you've seen it in a book or in a guide somewhere, but then this is how the layout should be, the structuring of a while loop. Okay, first thing first, you need to have a declaration. Alright, and what kind of a declaration? You might have a declaration with initialization or declaration without initialization. That will depend in terms of availability of information to work with. You might have a declaration, you declare a variable here, and then you will initialize it to a certain value, or you might declare a variable and as initialize no value to it. You just declare it and have no initialization on the variable. It still will be fine, but that's the first thing that you have to consider whenever you're dealing with a while loop. You'll start with a declaration on top, and then secondly you'll have your while. Now you'll have your while statement, you'll have, which is written as while, and then within the brackets of the while, remember this is a condition, that's why you'll always, this is a statement that controls, right? So that's why you'll always have this while and the brackets, because this is the engine, this is the one that control, and then whatever is within the two brackets is the one that is going to control your structure. Alright, so I said here is a condition. You write it as while, and then you put your condition here. This represents the conditions that the user is going to be addressed by, right? And then thirdly, now you are within, after writing this while condition, you'll open the parentheses, which are like these. Alright, let me just make them nicely here. Take time, but be worth it. Yeah, you'll have something like this after writing your while condition. You write your while and then you say condition, and then you open the parentheses, and then the third part of it. This is actually within, right? Statement within the while loop. So this should come here. Okay, let me just not cut it, but just copy it, and then yeah. All right. Okay, the third one actually, that's a statement within the while loop. All right, same applies to the third one. This one, statement to change the previous condition. I've given an example here. This statement also, it will also occur within. All right, let me actually cut both of them just not to confuse you guys more, because the more I have them as duplicate, someone might be confused and be like, oh, I can have them here and there and there. No, that's not how it should be. All right, there we go. So let me quickly remove this one. All right, good. Okay, as you can see guys, here I have, I'm trying to arrange it nicely. All right, very good. Okay, I have a while here, and then here there are parentheses for the while loop. This parenthesis, it opens here and it closes here, and then within I'm going to have my third part of the while loop, which says statement within the while loop. This can be a bunch of statement, meaning actually here is where you're going to have whatever that they require you to achieve in your code. This represent that whatever that you need to, maybe either the calculation or the display, or maybe anything that they require you to achieve, you'll achieve it on number 3. And then after achieving that on number 3, you then need a statement. That will actually, after running that statement, will help you change the condition so that you keep the repetition. This is the cycle, so that you keep the repetition, the loop. Like I said here, statement to change the previous condition. Remember, you have a condition that will allow you to enter, and then you enter, and then you run this statement if the condition is true. And then after it, you must have the statement that changed the previous condition so that the repetition can continue. So I gave you an example. In the basic contents, normally we'll always have increment of our variable, or the decrement, which is the decrement is, maybe assume that I was our variable, integer variable. Let's just assume I was our integer variable, and then here you'll have what? I plus plus. It then means you are adding. This is an increment. You are adding only 1 to your variable I. You are adding only 1, a value 1. This is just like I plus 1. Simple as these guys. One might, or maybe let me write it. You say, oh, this is, remember I said assume I was the variable that has been declared. So this is the same as I is equals to, is assigned to I plus 1. This statement, okay, let me change this just to show you guys. The I plus plus is the same as this. Maybe this is more of a normal way, since we were more into mathematics in our life. Earlier we reached mathematics before we reached programming. So this is programming wise, and this is also programming wise, but with a basic content that we actually saw in mathematics. So when you see statement like this, just know that it can be written like this. All right, so now here on the decrement, it also the same. I suppose you guys have already got that. So this is the same as, remember I said assume I was given as what? Assume I was given as our variable that has been declared on top. So this is the same as I, then you take away 1 only, decrement only 1, increment only 1. So this is the layout of a while loop, guys. This is, remember, the declaration, and then you'll have your while, and then you put the condition here. All right, and then now you'll have the statement to run. After running the statement, you must have a statement that actually change the previous condition, so that the program keep looping. It change the condition and then go and check if the condition is met, and then you can do the same thing, and it will even change the condition again. So that's why we call it a repetition structure. You keep repeating while a condition is met. So maybe someone might ask, why do we need a program that repeat? Let me just give you like a practical example. Like this is more practical as human being every day. Like let's just assume maybe Maybe you are studying somewhere there, you are facing this chapter, and you're like, you know what, for this chapter I'm giving this chapter 2 hours. You see, once you said that I'm giving this chapter 2 hours of my time, I'm going to study this chapter for 2 hours, once you said that, you already have a condition, and your condition is what? Is that I have to keep doing whatever that I'm doing within this chapter, keep the study of this chapter, keep reading the work within this chapter in 2 hours. As long as I've not met 2 hours, it then means what? I will keep studying. That's the idea of repetition. It then means you'll keep studying, maybe one might say you'll keep repeating your study within that chapter, as long as you have not reached the 2 hour mark that you have set for yourself. So that 2 hour in our example here, in our explanation here, it will fit as a condition. So it then means you'll keep reading. So once it says 2 hours, if it goes 1 minute plus 2 hours plus a minute, it then means you can stop. You see, that's the idea of repetition. Even with computers, we have programs that run for a certain period of time. Maybe I think time is a good example, because most of the things we always calculate the time it takes. Let it be at least 2 minutes, let it be at least this much. All right, so that's the idea of repetition. Yes, we need program that can also repeat. Right, so that's the idea of the while loop. And then now so I don't know if maybe I've left something out for you guys, but then I hope that you guys, whatever that maybe you might have as a question, you'll just have a comment below there, and then I can come back to you guys, and then and share the idea. Remember, the knowledge is so broad, you cannot cover it at once. So yes, all right. Then now guys, after all, I made an example here. I just decided, you know what, okay, since I have this English here, let me let my beginner programmers get a feeling of this structure, the basic feeling of this structure in a programming. Now in, like, we are coding it using C++. All right, so my example, let me not waste any time. My example here is given. Example 1: write a program which displays integers less than 10. All right, I know you guys, because you're smart, you've already seen the idea. All right, write a program which displays integers less than 10. So now you know what this is. An integer. What is an integer? This is a data type. You know, you already got an idea. Oh, integers, I'm dealing with an integer data type. It then means the variable that you need to declare is what kind? The data is going to be an integer, obviously. So I'm dealing with integers less than 10. You see, assume this 10 was maybe given what I've just explained to you, the 2 hours idea. So this is the idea now. 10 only, integers less than 10. Make use of a while loop to achieve this. All right, quickly I'll go to my Qt Creator. Remember I told you guys that I have a problem with my code block. Normally they advise that beginners should use code block, but then I'm having code block on my computer with Windows 8. I don't know why, but then as I've explained in the previous lecture, I'll again go to my Qt Creator, which is quite a good framework. All right, then open a new project in non-Qt, then plain C++. All right, let's name it C++ lecturer. All right, C++. Oh my god, so it's just supposed to say lecturer. It's not supposed to lecturer. Lecture 06. All right. The location still the same, I suppose. Very good. All right. Happy. Let me zoom. Those who are using smaller monitor. All right, let me remove this statement. Remember I said C++, that's why this framework just suggests the hello world, because that's where you start. All right, remember the layout guys here. The program, if you're using code block, you will have to include the input and output streams just like this. And then you say using namespace standard. All right, and then now we are inside int main. That's where this is our playground, which is the function int main. This is our playground. So now our problem set, okay, let me try to scale them. All right, I suppose to be able to see. All right, this is where I'm going to code, and then this is where we are going to read our problem. Say the question says what? Write a program which displays integers less than 10. All right, it then means quickly here, remember the layout of the while loop. Okay, let's go to the layout just to show you guys that I'm going to do everything that I have here on the notepad for you guys. I'm going to do it inside coding. So now declaration with or without initialization. So now we know here we're dealing with what? Integers. So I'm going to declare an integer variable here, int. Let's just keep it basic and say I. All right, so do we have to initialize it or not initialize it? I know you got a good logic. Let's just initialize it, because now we know that we'll be looking to integer less than 10. Let's just initialize it to mark where we are going to start. Let's just give it 0 then. All right, okay, now after that, what's next? Okay, we say secondly we have what? From here we have a while condition. So we'll simply just say while, suggesting for me, then I'll just say while, and then I open the bracket, and then when you open it always closes for you. So what am I what is the condition that I'm looking into here? The condition says integer less than 10. So now here we have an integer I, and then we have to make sure that the variable that we have here, it must take part in terms of on the condition. So we say we declare an integer I here. So we know that now we need to display, now our I start at 0, we need to display all integers less than 10. So that means you can say, because I is an integer, you can say I. So we want it to be what? Less than what? Less than 10. All right, so simply less than 10, we just write less than 10 just like that. So it then means here we have a nice condition, we have voted nicely. Okay, so here are the parentheses. Now statement number 3 said we're going to write statement within the while loop. What is our statement in our problem? What is our statement? What is the statement that we have to achieve within the while loop? What is the statement that we need to achieve? Is it about display integers? So once you hear the word display, what run in your mind? You guys remember that we know we have what? A cout, a console output. And then remember, now we're displaying what? We're displaying integers less than 10. So all right, so now our integer here, remember our integer here is what? We declare an integer on our program. What is known as an integer is I. So we then means we're going to display what? I. And then simply like that. Then let's just end line so that we can display them after each other on a new line. All right, so all right guys, you guys know what is this. This is a console output. It always works with output when you want to display something to the screen, right? And then now, this is number 3 on our while loop. So now we go to statement or the fourth part, which is statement to change the previous condition. All right, I give an example here. I said I plus plus, which simply means I is assigned to I plus 1. It then means we're adding 1 to the current I that we have. So I'll just actually just do that and then continue. So which is the fourth part, which is the last part. Then means I'm going to say I plus plus. I'm going to do it 2-dimensional so that you guys can see that this is the same thing. So I've done, and then I've saved my project, and then now let's execute the program and see if we actually display the first. We're displaying what? We're displaying the integers less than 10. All right, so I'll come to build it quickly. I'm hoping for the green light here. All right, there is a green light. That means now let's run our project. Remember, you have to build so that if there are any errors, then you can fix them. All right, you see, voila, this is our screen. Let's count them. Are they 10? 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 10. Remember we started at 0, that's why it stopped at 9. Don't get confused. All right, so we have achieved that, the while loop. So now let me just change some little bit fewer things here. All right, I said to you I want to emphasize to show you that actually this statement means is the same as, say, having I is assigned to I plus 1. So this is one and the same thing. So I'm going to, again, I've saved the project, did the shortcut Control S for saving, guys. Then I'm going to build it, then I'm going to run it. You see, the output is the same. You see, the output is the same, guys. Remember, I use end lines so that I can see them below each other, so that you can count them nicely, right? Perfect. So what else can I emphasize here? So remember, guys, this was a statement. This was for statement. This is a statement within the while loop. All right, you have it here on the notepad. So let's just quickly do the comparison, very quick. We have our declaration here, which is number 1. Our declaration was with initialization. We initialize I to 0, and then we have our while, and then the condition says what? I less or equals to 10. So let me now go and actually explain how the program executes. First, for the first time, we gave our I the storage I. Remember, these are storage reference. Inside that storage, we store what? 0. And then when we come to our while loop, this is how the program, guys, pay attention, this is how a program is actually, a program traces your statements. It's first say I. Remember, this I is a reference to is a storage reference, but we know that inside I now, because we initialize it to 0, actually here we're having what? 0 here, guys, on I. So mathematically the program says what stored inside a variable I, is it less than 10? So let's look, what is it that is stored inside a variable I? Here we can see that is what? Is 0. But assume maybe we don't know, because this is inside the program. That's why we're just calling I here. I cannot write 0 here, because if I wrote 0, 0 is not being declared. I'm comparing one condition. I have to compare a variable that has been declared. So this is how the program execution starts. It's going to look into that storage reference, which is the storage which is named I as an integer, and say, is what stored inside I less than 10? So what was stored inside I was what? 0, was initially 0. So it said 0 is less than 10. So we have met what? A true condition. Yes, it's true that 0 is less than 10. We know mathematically 0 is less than 10. So it then comes where? It comes within this. It enters within the parenthesis of a while loop. Remember, I said if it's true, we enter. So inside you find a statement. What was our statement? Our statement was for display, and then we're displaying what? That I. You see, we're displaying that I, and then the end line, I introduced these two things for the output stream, and then I said end line. To start, everything will be displayed on a new line now. I display this, and then I'm going to start a new line. I'll display the next one and start on a new line. So that's why I display I. What was I? It then means is what? Is 0. So I'm displaying 0 here, and then I start a new line. And then after it, I'm having what? The statement say now, because I have to change the previous condition. So I said I is assigned to I plus 1. Remember, this guy was okay, let me take it back to the way it was. Okay, so this is I plus plus. It then means what? Whatever that is inside I, am adding what? 1. So remember, now after adding 1, I know now I've changed the data inside I. Then I hit a parenthesis here. This say, hey, you are locked. Then I come back here with a new value for I. That new value for I now we know is what? Is 1. Because it was 0, we know it was 0, so we say plus 1 is 1. Is 1 less than 10? And then yes, it's true, and then we come inside, we do the same thing, we display that I, which is now what? 1. So that's why we display 1, and then now start a new line, and then we come here, and now we increase that 1 plus 1. It's going to be what? 2. We hit here, we come back here again. Is 2 less than 10? Yes. And then we are happy it's met, and then we come here, we display what? That 2, and then on a new line, and then now we start a new line, then we come here, we increase that 2 with 1, and then it's, again it hit here, it goes up with a new value of I being 3. Is 3 less than 10? So this keeps executing till on the 9th. Now let's say now I is 9. and then it's 9 less than 10. Yes, it's true. We come here, we display 9, and then we come here, we say 9 plus 1. After saying 9 plus 1, we know it's going to be what, 10. Then we hit here. When we go up here with a new value for I, which is 10, then we say it's going to say is 10 less than 10. We know mathematically 10 is not less than 10, so this condition is not what, is not met. So it then means you have reached false. Once it's false, you don't come within this statement. You don't come here. You don't enter these two parentheses. So you go outside them. It then means you have stopped the while loop, and outside, that's where we return 0, meaning we mark the end of the program. That's where the program stops. Right? That's why it stopped after displaying what, after displaying I, which was 9. All right, let me run it again. You see, that's why it stopped after displaying 9. All right, guys. Okay. Then now, guys, I've emphasized the control structure, the while loop, the repetition, and then now we'll be looking to our next video, which we are emphasizing the control structure, for loop. Oh, before that, okay, yes, the for loop. All right, guys. Then yeah, we'll be looking into the for loop and the do while. Okay, the next one is the do while, a do while loop. All right, and then after that you can emphasize a for loop. All right, guys. Thank you guys so much, and then keep watching, and please do leave your comment and subscribe to my page. Appreciate. And then hope you find this video educational, and then do post any question, and then we can run into your things and then help you guys. Thank you. Bye for now.